With just a little more than 6 weeks until Election Day, the passing of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is expected to have a major impact on the presidential race. Confirming a new Supreme Court justice in an election year is not without precedent. Some half-dozen presidents have done so. Let's bring in Elizabeth Wydra now. She's the president of the Constitutional Accountability Center. And Elizabeth, I want to walk through this year now. The stakes for this presidential election just got higher, with voting already underway in some states, as you know, and, 44 days until Election Day. And given that just 4 short years ago, Senator Mitch McConnell refused to consider President Obama's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Merrick Garland, 10 months before Election Day, McConnell saying that President Trump's nominee, though, will get a vote in the Senate this year. Does this present any risks for Republicans?
Yes, thank you. I think it absolutely does. The Supreme Court, the nomination process for a justice is inherently political in that the nominee is named by the president and confirmed by the Senate, who are elected by the people. But the legitimacy of the court, which is something that Chief Justice John Roberts has been incredibly concerned about, that's something that should be nonpartisan. And so it's really important that we have standards when it comes to putting justices on the highest court in the land, because the legitimacy of the court and the important work that it does is at stake. And here, as you said, not only is Election Day just a few weeks away, but the election is already here in a lot of states. People are already casting their ballots. And with the death of Justice Ginsburg, who was such an icon, so revered by so many people across this country, the eyes of the nation truly are on this vacancy and what could become of this nomination process. And so with the nation watching so closely, with voters already going to the polls, the court truly is on the ballot. And that will be a motivating factor for voters from across the ideological spectrum, particularly when you think about Justice Ginsburg as a crucial vote on the court on high-profile issues such as abortion rights, preserving the Affordable Care Act and protections for pre-existing conditions, voting rights, and, particularly for senators like Senator Collins, Senator Gardner, who are in tight races where there are a lot of support for abortion rights and the ACA among their constituents. This puts them really in a position where they have to be very careful about the way that they address this vacancy.
Well, speaking of Senator Collins of Maine, I actually have a statement from her coming in right now regarding this Supreme Court pick to fill Justice Ginsburg's vacant spot. Now, she says, given the proximity of the presidential election, however, I do not believe that the Senate should vote on the nominee prior to the election. In fairness to the American people, who will either be re-electing the president or selecting a new one, the decision of a lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court should be made by the president, who is elected on November 3rd. Elizabeth, how does this change the calculus?
Well, I think that fits with what was the practice in 2016, the last time we went through this. And, obviously there has been historical precedent the other way, but given that we just had such clear statements, including from people like Senator Collins back then, it does, I think, booster the legitimacy of the eventual appointment.
Now, what are you saying? Wait, Elizabeth, I don't follow you. What are you telling me? You just had a really pivotal statement that I read here from Susan Collins of Maine.
Yes.
Saying that, hey, guys, don't count me in. If you do take this to a vote on the Senate floor, don't count me in. I think whoever is the president come November 3rd or a few weeks or so after that, once it is finally, the votes are all tallied, that person who is elected, whether it's President Trump or if it's going to be a President Biden, that person should be the person to decide on the next Supreme Court justice. And also, in an interview with an Alaska public media outlet that happened just Friday, this was before Justice Ginsburg passed, Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, she said that another consistent, as you know, she said that she would not vote to confirm. She would not vote to confirm a justice before the election either. So now we're waiting to hear from Mitt Romney. So, listen, this is very crucial. There's no guarantee that the Republicans have the votes that they may need, that McConnell may need to push this through. So what should, given all that, too, what should Democrats do as well at this pivotal point?
Well, I think that Democrats will say that, the Republican position in 2016 was that the next president should nominate the Supreme Court justice. And, that seems to be what Senator Collins and Senator Murkowski are saying this time, based on that statement that you just read. And, I think that given the closeness with which the voters are watching this election, that's an important position for those particular senators to take. And it does mean that it makes it harder for Mitch McConnell to get through a nominee. And I would also point out that, the process for getting someone onto the bench is complicated and takes a while. And whether we have enough time to do that legitimately and adequately before the election is an entirely separate matter. But it sounds like from Senator Collins that Mitch McConnell might not have the votes anyway. And for the good of the legitimacy of the court, given that there's an election underway, that does seem to be the appropriate route to take.
And on the minds of voters could be the dying wish of Justice Ginsburg, which says, "My most fervent wish is that I will not be replaced until a new president is installed." Elizabeth Wydra, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.